Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NFL Divisional round, going over the DraftKings and Yahoo slate. Another four-gamer, but this one is much better. Last week's slate was pretty rough, a lot of low-scoring games, a lot of low totals. Not the case this week. We got some high totals. Indy KC has like a 57 total. Philly New Orleans is at 50. I think Dallas and the Rams is also around 50. Lowest total is Chargers Patriots, and that one's still at like 46 or 45, so should have a lot of high-scoring games, a lot of good fantasy options on this slate. Roster construction is going to be really key. DraftKings, at least, did price down a lot of players. A lot of guys feel like their salaries are cut by like 10-15%. We saw DraftKings do this for the NBA Christmas Day slate, where they kind of cut everyone's salary. Seems like they did it for this slate. Everyone seems a little bit cheaper than what they would normally be. Yahoo salaries are about the same as what they always are. Maybe a little bit cheaper than what they normally are, like Zeke at 33 feels a little cheap. Looking at receiver like Woods, Cooper, Edelman, Brandon Cooks all feel like their salaries were cut a little bit. T.Y. At 22, Keenan Allen at 23 feels like their salaries were cut a little bit. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of like great cheap punt plays, but you could definitely build out a very solid lineup this week with a lot of mid-tier plays just with how the salaries work. So we'll go through each position, talk about the guys that stand out to me that I feel like I'm going to be playing. Of course, I'll give my core of 5 plays, 5 guys that I really like on DraftKings specifically, and then 5 guys over on Yahoo that I'm going to be playing over there. Before we do get started, though, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. If you do enjoy these videos, make sure you click that like button. And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you also subscribe down below, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. But starting off at quarterback, at the top we have Patrick Mahomes. 7K gets a matchup at home against the Colts. Obviously can't deny that Patrick Mahomes has been the best fantasy quarterback all year. At 7K, his price tag feels probably too cheap, or cheaper than what it should be. I really like this spot for Drew Brees, though. Drew Brees is a little bit cheaper. He's going to be a lot more under-owned, I feel like. If people are going to pay up at quarterback, they're most likely going to go to Mahomes, which does make sense. But Drew Brees is in such a good spot at home against the Eagles team that you can really defeat on the outside. Really been struggling this year against top-tier wide receivers. Have really been struggling to stop quarterbacks. This is a team that's very good defending the run. So I think Drew Brees has a big game this week, and he's the quarterback that I do want to pay up for. When we get to receiver, we'll talk about Michael Thomas. I like Michael Thomas a lot this week. Over on Yahoo, pricing's pretty similar. Mahomes is $39, most expensive quarterback. Luck is actually the second most expensive at $36. Brees is down here at $35, and I also do like Brees a lot over on Yahoo. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks this week. I'm going to be playing some Mahomes, but I expect to have more Brees than I do Mahomes. Andrew Luck is so closely priced to Drew Brees, I think I'd just rather play Brees. Don't see myself really going to Mahomes. If I'm not paying up at quarterback for Mahomes or Brees, I'm probably going to go cheap. Specifically on DraftKings, I like Jared Goff a lot as a cheap quarterback. At 5,500, he's probably my favorite value if you want to go down to him. Over on Yahoo, Phillip Rivers and Jared Goff are 2 guys I like for value. Goff is 31, not as greatly priced, but Rivers is the cheapest quarterback on the slate on Yahoo. He's down here at 25. I really like Rivers a lot over on Yahoo if you want to go cheap. Definitely my favorite value quarterback over there. Brady, Luck, Foles, Prescott, probably going to be guys I don't play a ton of. Mostly looking at Mahomes, Brees, then Goff for cheap. Maybe some Prescott, but probably not. Mostly Goff and Rivers I like for cheap if you're looking for quarterbacks to punt with. But let's go ahead and move on to running back. Obviously, the top options here can't be ignored. Ezekiel Elliott is a top price running back on DraftKings at 8,200, just 200 more than Todd Gurley. Over on Yahoo, pricing's a little bit different. Gurley's the most expensive running back at $37. Ezekiel Elliott is $33. Even factoring in price, I still feel like Ezekiel Elliott is a better play than Todd Gurley this week. That might be a hot take, but I don't like the spot for Todd Gurley. He's coming back from injury, and he's facing a Dallas team that is very good defensively, does have a good overall run defense. I think Zeke is in a better matchup. Even though he's more expensive, I prefer him. Over on Yahoo, Zeke's cheaper than Todd Gurley, and I also prefer Zeke over here, especially since he's cheaper. Zeke's just been getting massive work lately that we can't ignore, getting 25 to 30 carries a game, getting some targets as well. Even if the Cowboys are playing from behind here, Zeke will still be involved in the passing game, And obviously, if the Cowboys are ahead in this game, they're just going to feed Zeke. In that playoff game last week, he got 26 carries for 137 yards, 5 targets, 4 catches for 32 yards. Did get a rushing touchdown. 29.9 DraftKings points. I would say that was a mediocre game out of Ezekiel Elliott. We've seen this guy put up massive games this year. Could easily go for 100-plus rushing yards again. Could possibly get multiple touchdowns. Even though he's more expensive on DraftKings than Gurley, I still prefer Zeke. Feel like a lot of people are probably going to play Gurley over Zeke. I won't be doing that. I'll be riding with Zeke this week. But then running back gets a little tough after that. It's going to be very hard to play both expensive running backs. Like if you want to play Zeke and Gurley, that's probably going to be pretty tough unless you're just really going cheap at receiver. I think Damian Williams at 5,100 might be my favorite cheap running back, especially if Spencer Ware does not come back. It looks like Spencer Ware is going to return, and that should cut into Williams' workload a little bit. But I still expect Damian Williams is the starter, even with Spencer Ware coming back. I still expect him to get plenty of work, at least double-digit carries. We'll get some work in the passing game as well. Spencer Ware definitely is going to cut into the workload a bit, but at 5,100, I still do like Damian Williams in the highest projected scoring game against the Colts, or with the Colts and the Chiefs. I like him a lot as a value play. Melvin Gordon, I want to talk about his price. Lately, Melvin Gordon has not been great for fantasy. I played a decent amount of him on the last slate because I knew he was going to be really low owned. I definitely wanted to be over the field on Melvin Gordon. I was kind of banking on the talent. He went 17, or he had 17 carries, 40 yards, did get into the end zone once. Obviously, that was a tough matchup against the Ravens. This matchup is a little bit better against the Patriots, but we still don't know the health of Melvin Gordon if he's fully healthy. I know he hasn't been playing a ton of snaps. Like earlier this year, Gordon was playing like 85% of snaps. Lately, I think he's only been playing about 50 or 55%, which is definitely concerning, but at 6,200, this is the lowest price we've seen on Melvin Gordon in quite some time. So specifically on DraftKings, I'm definitely going to have some exposure to Melvin Gordon. Over on Yahoo, it's a little bit different. He's $29 over here. He's just so closely priced to the top tier guys where I don't think I'm going to be playing a ton of him on Yahoo. Still might play him in a few lineups, but on DraftKings, at 6,200, I do like Melvin Gordon as a low-owned sneaky play that still does have a ton of upside in my opinion. I think I would rather play Melvin Gordon over Marlon Mack. That might be a hot take, but give me Melvin Gordon. I feel like just a lot more talent there. Just has a lot of upside if he does get a full workload. And we know Melvin Gordon can get into the end zone multiple times. So if you're not paying up for Zeke, I like Melvin Gordon, and I do like Damian Williams, especially if Ware remains out. Even if Ware plays, I think you can still roll with Damian Williams at 5,100. I think that's it for running back value plays. I don't see a lot of cheap guys I'm going to be rolling with at this position. I'm going to try and pay up for Zeke, or if you want to go to Gurley, if you want to go to Melvin Gordon, those guys are fine, but definitely going to try and fit in Zeke at this position. So let's move on to receiver now. So Michael Thomas at the top here, 7,900. Absolutely love this spot for Michael Thomas. Going to be running him and Drew Brees in a lot of lineups this week. Going to be running that stack in a lot of lineups. Over on Yahoo, Thomas is also the most expensive receiver at $33. With how he's priced, so similarly to like the top tier running back, I don't expect Michael Thomas to gain a ton of ownership on Yahoo. So really like going over the field on him and Drew Brees on both sides. Thomas just has such a good matchup. This Eagles team, their secondary is just so bad. They're pretty much picking dudes up off the street to guard Michael Thomas here. Eagles secondary has just been so injury depleted all year. I think Thomas and these teams played earlier this year. Thomas had a pretty big game. 4 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown, 19.2 DraftKings points. Not a crazy high game, but the Eagles or the Saints did win that game by 41 points. So I imagine they weren't putting their foot on the gas pedal in that game. If this game can stay close, we could see a big line out of Michael Thomas. We could see like this game he put up against the Steelers, 11 for 109 and a touchdown. I would not be surprised if we get that kind of performance out of Michael Thomas here. Just such a good spot. There are some cheap receivers I like from the Eagles that you can use if you want to stack this game and run it back on the other side. But Michael Thomas, the number one priority for me from the Saints. I think I would rather play him over Alvin Kamara. Other receivers, though, Tyreek Hill is 7,400. Just won't be playing a ton of Tyreek Hill this week. Not really a guy I ever play. Michael Thomas is just in such a good matchup where I think I would rather pay up for Michael Thomas. The mid-range, though, at receiver on DraftKings is a little bit intriguing. We got Keenan Allen at 6,400, Julian Edelman 6,300, Robert Woods 59, Brandon Cooks 56. I think all these guys are really good plays. Since we did pay up for Zeke and did pay up for Michael Thomas, I do want to put some value into the 5 play, so I won't be plugging any of these 5 guys, at least on DraftKings. But over on Yahoo, it's pretty easy to fit these guys in because in this mid-range, you got pretty much a similar pricing. You got Woods at 20, Edelman at 20, Cooper at 20, Cooks at 19. I think my preferred 2 guys here in this mid-range, Julian Edelman definitely, just with the amount of targets Julian Edelman's getting on a weekly basis. His Yahoo price just seems to never move. It seems like it's always like $20 to $22. Even though Edelman hasn't shown like a massive ceiling this year, especially not on Yahoo with it not being full PPR, you could still get a big line out of Edelman. You could still get 8 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, which is definitely good at his price range. I feel like Edelman's probably a better play than Amari Cooper or Robert Woods or even Brandon Cook in that price range. Edelman's the guy that I really like over on Yahoo. Going to be in a lot of my lineups. Then it gets really tough to deciding your wide receiver 3, whether you want, or if you want to go with one of these mid-range guys, whether you want to go with Woods or Cooper or Cooks. Right now I'm leaning on Brandon Cooks. He's $1 cheaper than Edelman. I like him plugging into the 5 over on Yahoo. There's some cheap defenses I like that definitely make it easy where you could build a lineup around this 5, even though you only have $15 remaining per player. Defense you can punt this week. I think the Saints at $11 is a great value defense. Tight end, I don't really like punting this position because there aren't a lot of good plays. But if you were to go with a guy like Gronk or Hunter Henry, you could still definitely build a lineup around this 5. Brandon Cooks, though, at $19 on Yahoo, I like quite a bit. I expect he avoids Byron Jones in this game. I expect Byron Jones probably guards Robert Woods, which should lead to Brandon Cooks getting plenty of targets. We know this is a guy that does have big play potential, does have a lot of upside. And obviously, if I'm avoiding Todd Gurley on this slate, then I'm probably going to want to get some exposure to the Rams receivers. I think Brandon Cooks my preferred option. You can't go wrong with Robert Woods, but I think I would prefer Cooks for $1 cheaper, especially since we paid up for Breeze, we paid up for Zeke, paid up for Thomas. We're definitely going to need to save as much salary as we can. But I want to talk about some value receivers over on DraftKings. So specifically 5K and under, I really like Golden Tate on DraftKings at 4,600. I expect he plays a lot of his snaps in the slot and is going to avoid Lattimore. Tate's been getting consistent targets on a weekly basis. I know the upside hasn't really been there, but he did find the end zone last week. Got 5 catches, 46 yards, and a touchdown, 15.6 DraftKings points. I know he hasn't been playing a ton of snaps either. This is definitely one of the riskier plays, I should say. But on a slate where we're really searching for value, I think Golden Tate does provide us some upside as a value play. And since I'm going to be playing some Saints guys, I do want to run it back with someone from the Eagles. Golden Tate at 4,600 is a value receiver I do like on DraftKings. Don't like him as much on Yahoo because he's $18 over here. I would just rather play Brandon Cooks for $1 more or find $2 to get up to one of these guys like Woods or Edelman or Cooper. So won't be playing Tate much on Yahoo, but on DraftKings at 4,600 in a slate where we're really searching for some value, I do like him quite a bit. And then the last guy I want to talk about is Chris Hogan. He's down here at 3,900, and he's been seeing consistent targets lately. Been seeing a ton of snaps. He did get 11 targets last week against the Jets. I did play him in that Week 16 game, some against Buffalo, where he didn't get a single target. Hogan's just going to play more snaps now that Josh Gordon is suspended and no longer on the team. Cordell Patterson did miss last week, which did help. Chris Hogan did allow him to get some more targets. Even if Patterson comes back, we're still going to see Chris Hogan play a ton of snaps. He could still get 7 to 8 targets. And at 3,900 on DraftKings, where I'm really kind of searching for some value, I think Chris Hogan does make plenty of sense. If he's just going to be on the field and he's going to be this cheap and he's going to have Tom Brady as his quarterback, I think Hogan could definitely pay off this price tag. If you want to go to him on Yahoo, I don't mind him. He's down here at $11. He is close to minimum price. If you want to build a lineup around this 5, you're probably going to need some value. So I think going with Chris Hogan at 11 makes a ton of sense if you want to play him in like your flex or something. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. For receiver, let's go ahead and quickly go over defense, or tight end and defense. So at tight end, you got Travis Kelce at the top. Obviously, you cannot go wrong with Travis Kelce. But there are just a lot of good stud plays at running back, a lot of good stud plays at receiver. Where Travis Kelce, I don't think is going to be a priority for me. My favorite tight end on DraftKings is definitely probably Eric Ebron at 5,500. He's $1,500 cheaper than Travis Kelce. And I feel like he's probably the most optimal play on DraftKings to go to. Yahoo, it's a bit tougher. Kelce is only $4, or Ebron's only $4 cheaper than Kelsey. I don't know if that's enough savings to where I would want to play Ebron over Kelsey, but Zach Ertz is $8 cheaper than Kelsey. I think Zach Ertz is probably my favorite play on Yahoo. It's not a great matchup with the Saints. The Saints are pretty good at defending the tight end position, but Zach Ertz kind of banking on the talent. I still do like him at $22 on Yahoo. On DraftKings, I would just rather play Ebron. He's cheaper than Zach Ertz. I think Ebron makes the most sense here. I don't really like any cheap tight ends. Hunter Henry is coming back from the PUB list, so he could potentially see some snaps, see some targets. He's $2,800 on DraftKings. If you want to take a flyer on Hunter Henry, depending on if we can get a confirmation on his workload, I could see going there. Over on Yahoo, he's $14. Don't know if that's just enough value to where I'd want to play him. I'm going to try and fit in the expensive tight ends on Yahoo. It's going to be tough. Maybe if you want to not play Drew Brees, you want to save at quarterback, you could go down to like Rivers or something. Then you could definitely probably fit in one of the expensive tight ends around this 5 plays. But tight end for me, going to try and play as much Ertz and Ebron, or specifically Ebron and DraftKings, Ertz on Yahoo. If I can fit in Kelsey, I'll try and fit in Kelsey, but don't see myself really going cheap here. You're going to want to get in like these top 3 tight ends if you can. Let's go ahead and move on to defense now. So defense on DraftKings. I think my favorite defense is probably the Chiefs at home at $2,500 against the Colts. Chiefs, I'm just looking for a cheap defense. The Chiefs are at home. They're facing a Colts team that does give up some sacks. Andrew Luck has been sacked pretty decent amount this year. It's been better as of late, though. I don't think he's been getting sacked as much lately. But still, just looking for a cheap defense. I think the Chiefs at home, the Patriots at home make a ton of sense if you want to go there. On Yahoo, I love the Saints defense. Saints is the most expensive on DraftKings, but over on Yahoo, Saints is only $11. Definitely my favorite defense over here, just when you factor in their price tag. They're at home against the Eagles, against Nick Foles. Don't really need to say much about defense. I try and go cheap here if I can, especially like in the playoffs where we have just a ton of good teams playing each other. You're not going to get any like insanely attractive defenses. Kind of just pick your favorite. I think going with the cheap home defense makes a lot of sense in the playoffs. So the Chiefs, Patriots, kind of the defenses I've talked about. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for defense, and I think that is it for the video. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, good luck on this NFL slate this weekend. We will see you in the next video. Peace.